Ronald McDonald. We're going to have to talk about domestication syndrome and who was Ronald McDonald. I've had another mind-blowing week after sharing the cult of Scary Potter because more people put pictures on my Facebook page of Jeffrey Dahmer, Jeff Bezos, who else? Corey Good, Mr. Rogers, and they all have that super chin cleft where the two parts of their jaw do not come together. And the only thing I can think of is that, like, as the light is increasing and the sun is getting brighter and our star is sending us more intelligence, that we're suddenly seeing things that we have never seen before. And I think that that has been built into our DNA and our modifications in the divine blueprint is the inability to see the Draco race, which has been running the human trafficking program here in the world. I'm not going to say the United States, like the entire world. But from the Department of Justice and the files that have been released, they actually say, and I put that on our community post page today, that, you know, the deal has been struck for a certain hundreds of thousands of children to be delivered to these deep underground military bases for the Draco. And then on the surface, their emissaries do what? They make all the movies, all of Hollywood, but there's another piece to that. So in my short little video about the Steinhatchee sunrise, which I just didn't even speak in, I wanted you to see nature, I wrote in the description, what is domestication syndrome? So this is a true phenomenon. And what I think happened in the area that we call Mesopotamia, which is Turkey, Iran, Iraq, you know, that whole area, we've got this fight between like the green dragons and the red dragons. So, you know, it's Israel versus Iran. These are two different Draco races that have nothing to do with us. But in that area in early Sumer, which is what it was, what I understood was there was this hideous group of beings that, you know, took like the most, you know, serene, kind of docile humans from our wild, feral, primitive states and drew them into the cities, right? Drew them into the cities, continued to modify them, made this industrial agriculture program with plows and raping the earth, with monocrop farming of various things. But part of that was that I wrote, you know, that I believe that they started cannibalism during that time. And that's why, oh gosh, you know, it gets into the Canaanites and who are the Canaanites and why was St. Christopher some weird dog-headed thing that was about cannibalism and so forth. So I have to share with you a video. It's pretty disturbing, but I need you to see who was the original Ronald McDonald, so I'm going to have to use my phone. And I don't want to get into this. Like, I'm not interested in seeing all this gory stuff, but in order for this never to happen again, we're going to have to look at it, folks. Because if we don't have the courage to look at this, this just is how it continues. And I also looked up, like, other movie stars. Nicolas Cage, like, I can't, Mr. Rogers, like, all of them have this weird chin. So a woman shared this video. Let's see if I can get the sound to go for you. So in 1892, there was this character, okay? And the words are there, the sound is off. And he, in 1892, like before the last reset, this man with a cleft chin went around America serving them food in these little boxes with a pentagram. And the kids would come out like really disturbed. Yes, they got a little cookie and a slice of bread because I'm sure it was very impoverished, but it was a meal ticket to come and eat for free. And the kids would come out looking really sad and disturbed, but he had them in a tent and he was feeding them something, okay, that really...
Except for a crate of red paint, yellow cloth, and dozens of unused paper boxes.
All right, so that's in 1892, right? That this guy, who then later became Ronald McDonald, all right? And then I have shared this before, that this guy's face, he has the weird cleft chin. And it's commonly known that 20% of the beef at these fast food places and like China buffets and different buffets, it's been on the news again and again and again as it's testing as human DNA. So I don't know if that is, from the human trafficking or from clones or what this is, but part of the domestication syndrome that happened from the wild, feral, completely capable divine human was to bring them into cities and feed them their own flesh, their own children's flesh. That was part of the whole human sacrifice schedule of the children. And from Saturnalia and different events, and we're coming up into, the adrenochrome bunny season of death and resurrection, this adrenochrome bunny. Well, part of what's wrong with humanity is we are becoming violent against ourselves. And that's part of, eating at these fast food restaurants where 20% of the beef is known to be human DNA, and the other stuff that they call chicken and fish, I don't know what that is. Like, it's like some weird 3D printed crap. I don't know what that is. But look at the number of people who just go out and eat fast food. Like in this town where I live, and there's a population of like 3,000 people here, there are so many fast foods. One is like Hungry Howdy's, and why is that pepperoni on every pizza and every gas station in the United States? There's McDonald's, there's 2 McDonald's, there's Burger King, there's all these weird little plus like $3 stores. And I live in a very small community. And yet there's 5 funeral homes, but only 1 cemetery, but 5 funeral homes. And you got to wonder, where are they burying these people? What are they doing with these bodies? Because I've shared before, like a regular guy who was, working in graveyards, where he put the casket in the ground and he was really freaked out because it was like his side job, saying there's nothing in this casket. And the manager was like, we don't ask questions, we just lower the casket. So I have to report this to you folks, that the Ronald McDonald guy was also with that cleft chin. I'm sorry. And I'm like, what is going on here? What? Literally. Now I'm going to show you my photos of how much of this crap that I have been seeing, and some other very disturbing photos. Like these people. You've seen these people, right? You know this. And I believe that chin also was a cleft chin. These are the anal fuckers that Aurora talked about, that have anal sex. And this guy is just a full-on cannibal vampire. Like, right? He's on the money, the currency. And yet everyone thinks that they can go to war for these people. Look at this. They all have that chin. And folks, I have never seen anything like this before. So I just don't know what to tell you, right? He's on the money currency. And people are not sure that he's actually still dead. The painting that I talked about last time, right? They all have the cleft chin. So Michael Jackson, when he was young, had a cleft chin, and then he had it like increased when he had his surgeries. But they all of them, look at John Travolta, all of them have the cleft chin. I don't even know who these people are. Honestly, my whole phone is full of these people. And I do believe that they are the original snake in the garden. And I don't mean to say that if you have a cleft chin that you're that, because what I also know is that there's a thing here called the Christos realignment mission, and that many of us birthed ourselves backwards. Ashayana Dean, back when she was still herself, had made a video about birthing backwards, where many of us chose the most messed up families to come into to, like, you know, improve divinity, to try and like get this evil crap out of here. But if Mr. Rogers has that on his chin, and it's all like, I need to look up all of these people. Like, what about that, the Winnie the Pooh people and the Mickey Mouse Walt Disney guy who had that like big, long widow's peak. So it's the widow's peak and the cleft chin and the diamond-shaped face like Nikola Tesla. They're all from Mars. These are our invaders. And so the domestication syndrome of Ronald McDonald food and the other weird crap that everyone's eating and buying at the store, that is what's making you stupid. That is what's making you not able to be this beautiful human who can manifest like paradise. It's literally because we're living in cities. We're living in stuffy, gross houses. We don't even carry our own firewood. We have no connection to nature and the land because we've been domesticated and eating our own people at Ronald McDonald's, or taking our children to where Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2008, to Disney World, where a huge underground tunnel system exists for this human trafficking. And they have those two-way like windows that look like a mirror, but there's a national security agent behind that. And I know a lot of this because I have clients who have figured this out, who have had a relationship with one of these people at Disney World and so forth, and told me what's actually going on there. So I'm not doing as many sessions. I'd rather not do sessions at all, honestly, because right now what I'm doing is conserving my energy to make sure that I can fly. Like, the Luna moth that I found last night, and it was just trying to get its wings back together. Like, it needs to fly. It needs to get ready. We really need to get ready. So I know they're doing the Armageddon program, but I am really, I feel like we're going to win. We are doing this, folks, because there are people who realize now there's so much light coming in from our star. There are all those commanders were told by the rump that, just go to war, and then after this, Jesus is coming on a spaceship. Like some baloney thing. All these commanders in the military, they're walking off. They're realizing it too. Do not let your children be in the so-called service of the Pentagon, technological monster that needs to feed on us to then, bring in a real Armageddon. We don't need that. We don't want that. We've been told again and again that this is how it will end, and that, if you're just trusting God, this imposter God, and don't have any fear. Actually, there was another guy that someone sent me that allegedly also studied all the other texts. And I found out that he's like a Navy guy, but he's this weird influencer that says he's read all the texts. And I looked at him and I watched part of his video, and I was like, This guy can't even speak the Sanskrit that he's reportedly read. He couldn't even say Tattvam Asi. And so I'm listening to it. Oh, I found out he's part of upper level intelligence of the Navy. It's all connected. It's unbelievable. And all these religious documents, I don't care what it is, it says we're all one. We are not all one. Okay? It says on the dollar bill, trust in God, just lay down your life for your country. Like, this is bull crap, folks. All right, that's my 15-minute video on where did Ronald McDonald come from and this whole cleft chin thing. Who are these people? Mr. Rogers was a sniper for the military. He's a murderer, and you all trust him with your children? Whoa, folks, throw your TV. Every one of them throw them all of your smart devices in the garbage. Please get rid of your TV out of your house. It's a frequency weapon. And it's a weapon to your friends and neighbors too. So it's not just hurting you. So if you're part of the death cult, realize it's hurting all of us because it's a frequency weapon. Since 1973, they've known about these waves coming off of TVs. So I'm saying it again. Now I'm going out to the garden and getting some wood out there ready for our evening fire where we do the red light and then we do the sun gazing. We got vegetables growing like crazy because we are the original, beautiful, divine human.